Hi, welcome to True Crime and Coke. I am your host, Eve. This podcast is about true crime, disappearances, mysteries, hauntings, and anything strange or unusual. I also drink a whole bunch of Diet Coke, and you will most certainly hear my dog snoring in every episode. You can check out my Instagram page at Serial Killers and Stuff, or my YouTube page at True Crime and Coke, and you can also email me at truecrimeandcoke@gmail.com with any questions, suggestions, or any comments. So let's get started. Hi, it's Eve, and welcome to part 2 of Family Annihilators. Let's talk about Bradford Bishop. This is another man who killed his family and has never been caught. William Bradford Bishop Jr., or Brad, was an outdoorsman, a pilot, a family man, and he was also really into fitness. He was also a Foreign Service officer who graduated from Yale and spoke 5 foreign languages. He earned 2 master's degrees, one in Italian and the other in African Studies. As an FSO, or the Foreign Service officer, he was posted in Italy, Ethiopia, and Botswana. So this guy was extremely intelligent. So people described William Bradford Bishop as intense, but that would be normal for his personality type. He would have to be personality type A to be able to have the job he had, speak 5 different languages, travel. I mean, it's just, he was a very smart guy and he would have to be intense. So that would be normal to people who knew him. It wouldn't be a sign of anything coming. And because of that, absolutely no one saw what was coming on the first day of spring in 1976. That year, Brad was about to turn 40, and he was looking forward to continuing a diplomatic career as a rising star, or in other words, he was expecting a promotion. However, on March 1st, 1976, Bishop found out he was not going to be promoted. What happened next sent shockwaves through the Foreign Service community and the suburban neighborhood in Maryland, where he lived with his wife Annette, his mother Lobelia, and his 3 sons, William Bradford III, age 14, Brenton, age 10, and Jeffrey, age 5. Before I continue on to what happened on March 1st, 1976, let's talk more about Bishop's history in more detail. William Bradford Bishop Jr. was born August 1st, 1936 in Pasadena, California, to Lobelia and William Bradford Bishop Sr. He attended South Pasadena High School and received a Bachelor of Science degree in History from Yale University and a Master of Arts degree in International Studies from Middlebury College. Alternatively, he has been reported to have a bachelor's degree in American Studies from Yale and a master's degree in Italian from Middlebury College. He also holds a master's degree in African Studies from UCLA. After graduating from Yale in 1959, Bishop married his high school sweetheart Annette Weiss, with whom he had 3 sons. He joined the U.S. Army and spent 4 years in the counterintelligence area. Bishop also learned to speak 4, possibly 5 foreign languages: Italian, French, Serbo-Croatian, and Spanish. After leaving the Army, Bishop joined the U.S. State Department and served in the Foreign Service in many postings overseas. This included postings in the Italian cities of Verona, Milan, and Florence, where he did postgraduate work at the University of Florence from 1968 to 1972. He also served in Africa, including posts in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, and in Gaborone and Botswana from 1972 to 1974. His last posting, which began in 1974, was at State Department headquarters in Washington, D.C. as an assistant chief in the Division of Special Activities and Commercial Treaties. He was living in Bethesda, Maryland, with his wife and his 3 sons, as well as his mother. So this brings us back to March 1st, 1976, with just a little bit more detail about William Bishop. On that day, when he found out he did not receive the promotion, Brad left work early and went to the bank, walked inside, and withdrew a few $100s. Now, this was before they had ATMs, or I'm sure he would have just used the ATM. His next move was a trip to the store to buy a few items, a gas can, and a sledgehammer. He made 2 more stops before heading home, first to a gas station to fill up both a gas can and his car. His last stop was the hardware store. By now it was after dark, and he chose a pitchfork and a shovel, then threw his new tools into the back of his station wagon. What happened next has been pieced together. Investigators believe he entered the home and immediately bludgeoned Annette to death. His mother came home after walking the family dog, and he took the sledgehammer to her next. He walked upstairs to where his 3 boys were in bed asleep and murdered them where they lay. His boys loved their father. They were devoted to him and looked up to him, and he goes and bludgeons the 3 boys to death. Can you imagine their thoughts when that was happening? Looking up and seeing the man, your father you love so much, about to brutally bludgeon you to death. Can't imagine that. I just can't. That would be horrible. And since we don't have anybody who could tell us exactly what happened that night, for all we know, the boys could have been screaming, "Please stop, no," and he just continued to bludgeon them. And to bludgeon someone, let alone your loved ones, with a sledgehammer is very up close and very brutal, and you have to strike several times. So this was a horrible, painful way to die, and a cold, callous way to murder your own family. But good news, guys, he spared the dog, and he went through the home gathering all his diplomatic passports, and also took his dog, the 5 bodies, and some backpacking gear, and drove off into the night. Brad drove his station wagon 275 miles and pulled over near the town of Columbia, North Carolina, in the eastern part of the state. There, he dug a hole. He tossed the lifeless bodies of his wife, mother, and 3 sons into the pit. He poured gasoline on them and set them on fire. Smoke from the fire caught the attention of a park ranger, and the bodies were discovered shortly after. The burned bodies were found with a gas can and pitchfork and a shovel with a label of OCH HDW, which was determined to be from Pox Hardware. It wasn't until March 10th that investigators could verify Annette, her 3 sons, and her mother-in-law were dead. One policeman later said the interior of the house was a horror house and was unable to forget the blood marks on the ceiling of the kid's bedroom, and just the amount of marks and how many times he must have hit his sons. He just could not get that out of his head. So how the connection was made to the Bishop family was from the shovel's origins. They tracked down the origins of the shovel, which eventually led back to the Bishop family. On March 18th, police located the station wagon. There was plenty of evidence against Bishop, including a pool of blood in the vehicle and items that could be tied to him. They found the vehicle 400 miles from where he buried and burned his family. It was at the Appalachian Trail. Police stitched together a scenario. Bradford Bishop had hiked away using the Appalachian Trail as his escape route. They were unable to find any clues as to where he went from there, though. And that's the thing. He knew several languages. He was an avid outdoorsman. He was extremely smart. He had passports to everywhere. This guy could easily get away and probably outsmart anybody who's looking for him. So when they looked into Bradford Bishop's life, they could not really find any explanation for wanting to kill his family. There was no evidence of infidelity or any financial or job problems. The only glitch in the seemingly perfect Bishop family life is that he had been passed over for the promotion. It has been reported that Bishop's career had caused some marital tension. Bishop was unhappy at his desk job and interested in another foreign posting, but his wife, Annette, was reluctant. She had begun to study art at the University of Maryland, despite Bishop's desire for her to remain a stay-at-home mom. Okay, so right there, from the previous episode about like the profile of family annihilators. You have the guy where he wants to be the provider and he wants his wife to stay home, and it probably bothered him that she was studying at the university and that she told him no on relocating because, you know, in his mind, he should be the boss and she should be home and gladly accept it. So just right there, he matches that profile of the family annihilator, same with his age and higher education. William Bradford Bishop was indicted by grand jury in absentia on 5 counts of first-degree murder and several other charges. On April 10, 2014, the FBI placed him on the list of its 10 most wanted fugitives. On June 27, 2018, Bishop, who would be 81, was removed from the list, making room, the FBI said, for a dangerous fugitive. However, he is still being actively pursued by the FBI and is considered a dangerous fugitive. There have been sightings of Bishop over the past almost 50 years, and the most credible sightings of the fugitive have been in Europe. In the summer of 1978, a woman who knew Bishop well saw him twice in a park in Stockholm. She didn't think to report it because she was unaware he was a fugitive. She has stated several times that she is 100% certain it was him. Another credible sighting occurred in January 1979 when a former colleague bumped into Brad, as he is known to his colleagues, in a restroom in Italy. The colleague, without thinking, asked, "Say, you're Brad Bishop, aren't you?" At which point the bearded man denied it, in an American accent, by the way, and he quickly left. Then in 1994, a former neighbor reported seeing Bishop getting into a car in Switzerland. And because he was cunning, highly intelligent, and ordinary looking, he blended easily into crowds throughout the years. And because of his passports and language skills, he could have escaped almost anywhere in the world. And on top of that, he also received intelligence training from the U.S. government that would help him elude capture. So that's how this guy has been able to elude authorities for so long. And still, if he's still alive, he's still eluding them. And because no identification, including his passport, has ever been found, the authorities believe he is likely to still be alive and probably flying below the radar somewhere in the U.S. So now I am going to read the FBI's profile on him. The FBI states that Bishop is an avid outdoorsman who enjoys camping and hiking. Also, that he had a pilot's license from when he was stationed in Africa. He enjoys riding motorcycles and working out every week. He has a history of depression and insomnia, having been afflicted with both conditions and taking Xerax in the time leading up to the murders. And I'm sure they looked into that as a contributing factor, and that him not getting the promotion, he just snapped. He is fond of dogs, which of course he left his dog alive. He also enjoys scotch, peanuts, and spicy foods. He has a 6-inch vertical scar on his lower back from surgery, and if your mind's in the gutter like mine, I bet you thought I was going to say 6-inch something else. He also has a cleft chin and mole on his left face cheek. Bishop may have had his father's Smith & Wesson special revolver with the serial number C981967 and his Yale class ring with him when he vanished. He is also believed to have taken his diplomatic passport with him, as the family's diplomatic passports were all found at their home, but his was missing. They described him as a neat, orderly man. He would be well-groomed and polite. However, through the years as he aged, I'm sure that profile has completely changed. Today, if he was still alive, he would be 84 years old. So just think, he could have been your neighbor, he could have been your stepfather, he could have been your friend. He eluded police for a long time, and while eluding, he still had many, many prime years of his life left. So it's possible he could have even started another family. But that is the end of Bradley William Bishop, another family annihilator. You didn't ask for it, but I am going to give you my uneducated, unprofessional theory on what happened. So I do not think this was a premeditated murder of his entire family. I think it was just completely unplanned, and he just snapped when he found out he did not get that promotion, because he found out and he went home early and stopped by the places he needed to get the stuff he needed to kill his family, and killed his family. He just snapped. And I think the reason why he snapped is because he lived a pretty exciting life. As soon as he graduated high school, he went to colleges and received multiple degrees, and he joined the army and was in the counterintelligence area, so that would be very interesting. He was able to speak all those different languages, which probably made him feel pretty cool. It made me feel pretty cool, and he was probably much respected, because seriously, who can speak 4 to 5 different languages? And then even after leaving the army, when he joined the U.S. State Department, serving as the Foreign Service officer, he was posted overseas in places in Italian cities. And he also did work at the University of Florence, and he served in Africa and all kinds of places throughout the 1960s and some of the 70s. Then in 1974, he had to go stateside for a desk job because his wife did not want to travel anymore. She wanted a kind of a permanent settlement. And so he went from constant action in different countries, different people, traveling. Who knows, he could have met different women on his travels and had a good time doing that. And so he went from that to same old, go to work, come home, go to work, come home, day in, day out. And that is a completely different lifestyle from what he was used to. And it doesn't say when he started the antidepressants, but I bet he started the antidepressants when he came back, just because that change in lifestyle, I mean, is so different. And I think the only thing he was looking forward to in life at that time was his promotion. So this promotion was what he was looking forward to. He probably thought of it every day. It probably got him through every day, just thinking, okay, I'm going to be promoted. Who knows, this promotion may have made him move somewhere. So he would have to tell his wife, sorry, we have to move because of my job. And then it would make him feel, important again. So when he found out he did not get that promotion, the thing that he wanted so badly and was thinking of, he snapped. He completely snapped and lost it and annihilated his family and went on. He probably never mentioned it again or anything. He probably placed it in the back of his mind, never to think about it. That's my very unprofessional opinion. I would like to hear your opinion. You can email me your opinion at truecrimeandcoke@gmail.com. Please check out my Instagram page at Serial Killers and Stuff. I will post pictures of William Bradford Bishop along with his FBI Most Wanted poster. And also check out my YouTube page at True Crime and Coke. Thanks for listening. Have a good evening.